All right, 3 everyday strength moves or 3 everyday stretches. All right, we talk about everyday strength, meaning strength that we use every day. Everyday stretches also is for everyday movements, but stretches that you can do every day. Just like we floss and brush our teeth every day, these are a few moves that you can do every day. Not always as an intense stretch, but as with any stretch or exercise that you do, think from a maintenance standpoint, or how therapists think and rehab specialists think. We always assess and then we can strengthen, or then we can build fitness, right? So with each one of these stretches, be mindful. How does it feel first? And then you can kind of get a little more into the actual stretch. 3 of them today. One for your hips that may relieve your lower back pain. One for your thighs that may relieve some knee aches and pains. And one for your calf that can relieve some ankle and heel cord pain, all right? Let's get into the knee one first. Your quadriceps. Remember, your quadriceps, they start in your hip. You have 4 quadriceps, hence the word quad. All of them attached to your thigh bone. One of them attaches to your pelvis, so it does affect your hip and lower back a little bit. They all go down and they wrap around over your knee, okay? So if I take my shorts and go over my knee joint and see how tight that is, and now if I bend my knee, my thigh, my shorts only get tighter and they tug on the kind of the bottom where I'm holding on to my shorts at the bottom here. Your thigh muscles and the fascia covering those muscles are the same way. If your knees are barking at you or bothering you, it might be those muscles and that fascia, all those tissues tugging on your kneecap, tugging on your knee joint. That's why we want to relieve this a little bit, all right? So these are all standing stretches using either a box like this or a step like this, all right? So first what we can do, if you have an ottoman at home or a step and you just went for a walk, you're on your front porch, you can put your foot on the back step and hold this here. The key to all these stretches will be your posture, your spine, and staying tall. So what I want to do is get into position, all right? I have good balance, I'm standing tall, all right? Make sure my toes in a good position, my knees about 90 degrees. Then before I do anything else, I want to stand tall and I want to tuck my tail a little bit. That will be kind of the theme of this video, is tucking your tail, being aware of your pelvis, and stand tall. If you feel a stretch with this here, with your knee at about 90 degrees, that means your quadricep muscles they're either short, they're tight, they're spastic, they're just tensed up for some reason, and that is going to pull on some of your lower back, but mostly your knees, all right? So I'm going to go here, and then I'm just going to hold this tall, all right? If I want to add to this a little bit and what's going on in my upper body, I can reach high and get that stretch as well, all right? Just make sure you don't crank here and lose that tall posture and lose that tucking of your tail, all right? Then if I want to add to that, I just go up to a higher step, all right? And I'm going to go a higher box and get that stretch there. So this is just more intense stretch. My knee is flexed more. And again, get into this position with my foot. I'm good here. And you can lay your foot down like this. I don't mind that as much. I like to be up because this is how we're going to be walking and running and kind of actively on our toes. So I go in this position, stand tall, and then the same way I can reach high. So again, I'm staying tall with my spine and I'm tucking my tail a little bit and then really feeling that stretch here, okay? Now, 2 ways I can increase the tension here. I can sit back like this, which closes my knee joint more, and that's a pretty good stretch on this thigh muscle, all right? That's a great stretch. If you feel that in all the right places, wonderful. If that's bothering your knee joint, all right, you have some arthritis in there, some scar tissue, just something cranky, some degeneration of tissues as we all get as we age. If your knee joint doesn't like being impinged and closed up that much, hop away so your knee joint is opened more, but you can stretch kind of from your hips. So stay nice and tall, tuck your tail, see how that feels. And if you want to add a little insult to injury, go ahead and reach high, all right? But that's going to be a nice stretch whether you do before you play, after you play, just to loosen your knees up some, all right? And these are all stretches. There's different ways to work tension out of these tight muscles. It's not always a matter of stretching the muscles for 30 seconds or 60 seconds as we recommend. You may have to massage them, roll them out, things like that. Today we're talking about stretching, all right? So that's for your knee. The next standing stretch could just be using a step, and just to stand with your like your foot here, and then stand tall, tuck your tail, and see, do I feel a stretch here at all? Now, what I can do is bring my foot back. All right, well, let's start on the floor, really. If you've been driving for a while, you're getting gas, stand alongside your car, one foot in front of the other. This is an inline stance or split stance. Stand up tall, tuck your tail, and get that stretch in that back leg there. All right, So that stretch there. Again, tuck your tail, stay tall, and then you can reach high. All right. If I want to add to that a little bit, I bring a foot up onto the step. All right, foot back. I'm going to get tall. Now another cue I like is that I can get taller there. Here, I'm going to get as long as I can from the top back of my head to my back heel. All right, and stand and just feel that stretch there. All right. If you feel a tug on your lower back, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that does tell you that your hip flexors, specifically your psoas, one of the muscles in your hips, is really pulling on your lower back. All right. And that's why the hip flexor stretches are so important, because those muscles attach to kind of your groin, front of your thigh bone, your femur, but they go up through your pelvis and they insert into all your lumbar vertebrae. That's why when you sit for a while like this, these hip muscles can get tight. When you stand up and you feel that tension in your back, it's because those muscles are tugging forward on your lower back. So final stretch for your hips is just to go here. What I want to do is you're just standing tall. See how this feels. Do you feel your hips at all? Tuck your tail, you're good, you can stand up tall. Then what happens when you bring a foot up? Like, did you have to compensate? Did you have to throw your leg up there? Is it comfortable to stand like this? So again, I'm going to go in this position here, stay as tall as I can and get as long as I can from the top of my head to my heel on the floor. All right, which will involve a little bit of a tucking of my tail. All right, you don't want to, when people make the mistake is they just kind of crank into this stretch. Oh yeah, I kind of feel that. But you're kind of hanging on your meat, you're stretching your ligaments out, all the wrong stuff. You want to stay tall and engaged, all right, through your head, through your spine, all the way down to that heel. And then again, you can reach high, overhead, and get that stretch, because all these muscles all overlap, and you have kind of the line of fascia that runs the entire way as well. And then compare and contrast. My left hip flexor is always tighter than my right. I don't feel this one nearly as much, but I'll still work on it, stay tall, reach high, and go through that. All right? So those are your hip flexor stretches. Finally, just to get a quick heel cord stretch. If you're my age, if you're a male especially, upper 30s into your 40s, a lot of guys are blowing out their Achilles tendon. This is one simple maintenance thing to do. But again, what I usually see on the basketball court is a guy will walk up to the gym, the wall, do that a little bit, and then say, all right, I'm ready, let's rock and roll. I want you to be a little more mindful. Stretch two ways. Number one, make sure your foot is anchored up on the wall or anchored up on the bleacher, right? Don't just jam your toes into the wall. Anchor the ball of your foot up there so you have a little leverage. And then stand again as tall as you can, tuck your tail. All right, that's how you want to be there. And then to help release your calf muscle, you can contract the glute muscle of the same side. I'm stretching my right calf right now. I'm going to contract my right glute and then stand tall. I may come up on this toe, get nice as tall as I can. If I square my hips up to the wall where I'm stretching, I'm going to feel that even more. All right. Then the other key, so again, anchor your foot up on the wall, stand tall, square your hips up to whatever you're stretching on, and get that stretch there. The second way to stretch then is take the tension off, bend your knee a little bit, and then kind of go in. And that's going to be a little different. That's going to be more in your ankle joint. It's going to stretch your heel cord, your Achilles tendon a little bit more, your psoas muscle, a smaller muscle underneath your bigger calf muscle. But it's also going to challenge the mobility of your ankle joint. If you bend your knee and go into this position here and you feel the front of your ankle or inside your ankle, that's ankle impingement. We do another video for that. That means there's a bone, a rectangular bone called a talus, that is not moving or sliding very well. All right, and that's common if you sprain your ankle a couple times. But hit both of these stretches with a straight knee and a bent knee. All right, remember, if it feels sketchy, it probably is. Don't crank too hard into something you don't like. But feel both of those stretches. All right. So again, we stretch muscles not to just lengthen muscles, but to take tension off of a nearby joint. All right. Make sure those joints are still working well. All right. Hip flexor stretch, quadricep stretch, and a heel cord stretch. Try those out. You can create a little circuit, 30 seconds of each one. All right. So we start here, 30 seconds per leg. Go into this hip flexor stretch. Tuck my tail, stay tall, reach high, 30 seconds per side. And then calf stretch, stay tall, square, 30 seconds per. All right? See how that feels, especially after activity as well. All right? Try those out. Tell me what you think. I'll see you next time.